Talk Radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced and get happy with Dr. Marissa. And this show is about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have shows and topics.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Monday, Tuesday,
Happy days.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Happy days.
Friday, whatever.
Happy days.
What a day.
I love you.
I love you too.
Best known as the mom from Happy Days, and she is a delightful 89-year young Marion Ross to my studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Dr. Marissa, this is such a treat for me.
Oh.
My goodness, you're a wonderment.
Which is exactly the kind of guest that I like. Those who have gone through life, good and bad, and then taken those experiences to alchemize them into the person they are now and doing good on the planet. I'd like you to welcome Corey Feldman.
If you're grateful for it and you say right away, thank you, God. Oh, my God, that's so beautiful. I'm so blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then guess what? More good things will come to you.
Does this sound familiar at all? She's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
On and supporting cancer schmance. I really appreciate it.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it.
Okay.
Instead of a cause for it.
This is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else. Right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
You are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. Or I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so I can come over.
Come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get that with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Streaker, and more. Why so many TikTok plays? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more happiness, balancing out all that bad news with good news, because there's so much bad news out there. CNN, constantly negative news. But for 609, consecutive weeks now, we have been bringing you good news, good people, good shows, good topics, and good co-hosts. And today is no exception. Please welcome back to my studio my favorite Wednesday co-host. Her name is Dr. Tiffanie Tate. I'll read you a little bio in a second, but we just want to start the show off with my favorite sound.
Good morning, everyone. Always a pleasure to be here.
Good morning to you. Always a pleasure to have you. And you're streaming from?
San Francisco this morning.
Wow, that's so cool. My daughters live up there. Say hi to them for me. Dr. Tiffanie Tate is a U.S. Navy veteran, a published author, and a retired OBGYN from Compton, California. She's a playwright, singer, poet, songwriter, and more. Dr. Tiffanie is a published author of several books, including an important children's book called Bad Touching. She's coming out with a new book. Tell us about your new book you're coming out with.
My new book is called Money Matters, and it is the story of 3 young boys who find $100 on their way home from the park and race home to tell their mother about all the fabulous things they want to do with it, so they learn how to manage money, because money matters.
Fantastic. And Dr. Tiffanie really does, she's the master of making lemonade out of lemons, and as I like to say, yummy banana bread out of bruised bananas. Her story, if you don't know it already, and why she's my Wednesday host. She's a MD doctor. I'm a PhD doctor. Doctors in the house. But she is a very great example of how people take life events that are painful and not planned. She had an accident that now doesn't allow her to do what she used to do, what she trained to do as an OBGYN. But she has certainly not let that stop her from completing and fulfilling many different avenues with which she gets to create and share with us her unique gifts, talents, and abilities, as all of us have, all 8 billion. So, if I haven't said it before, Dr. Tiffanie, I appreciate you and all that you represent as a co-host on the show on Wednesdays.
As I am.
A little bit of love. So we're sort of kicking off already our breakfast with Dr. Marissa and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
Doctors in the house, which is, what are we grateful for and what do we like about ourselves? And as you just saw, we can also appreciate others. This little muscle is not necessarily one that everybody uses. I would say we've gotten the habit, especially since COVID, to up our complaining. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? And don't like that. So we do breakfast to focus and exercise your muscle to look at what's good. So I'll let you start, Dr. Tiffanie. What are you grateful for? And we'll do it. I've been doing just like 1 or 2 instead of the full 8 so that we get right into the topic of the day. But what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for friendship because I know that a lot of times we feel that we have to talk to people every day. And we've talked about stressing communication. But if you have reliable friends that you have from your history, you can always call on them at any time. And I was able to call on my historical friends, like my college roommate and her cousin, who are lawyers, to help me and give me advice when I had an issue. And you don't have to call on certain people who you consider friends and family, and they can be there for you when you need them.
Fantastic. I am grateful that my daughter and her boyfriend and my granddogson Pablo, the Frenchie, who's made his appearance on the show several times, snoring. They're coming down for a visit and taking me out for Mother's Day, belated Mother's Day. But they'll be here this weekend. They arrive tomorrow. I'm so excited. They're taking me into Morton's.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, with their souffle. I should probably get their endorsement. I mean, get their sponsorship before I wax eloquent on that, but I'm grateful for that. Now, what do you like about yourself? That's the bottom of the bun. We do this, as I mentioned, to exercise that muscle. It's my BS, my belief system that good mental health starts with an appreciation of yourself, self-care, self-love, self-soothing. So I appreciate that I am easily distracted by what's going around me, so that when I don't like what I'm looking at, I don't look there long and I'm distracted into looking at something that makes me feel better.
I like the fact that my support isn't limited to my children, which is one of the reasons that I'm here in San Francisco. I am here to support my son's girlfriend, who is graduating from San Francisco State with her master's. So congratulations, Marisol.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. And now I encourage you to continue this. Yesterday's guest, my friend Jean McNaughton, said that actually 30 days is not enough to create a new habit, that we overestimate your ability to do things and change things in a month. A year is more like it. So I'm going to extend encouraging you to start your day with breakfast with me or yourself with 8 gratitudes to start, and then 8 appreciations at night before you go to bed, so that you're not thinking about who done me wrong or what I don't like about myself. And if you do that, I promise that you will sandwich your day in the most positive way. Thanks for joining us for breakfast. And I'm encouraging you. I see some eyeballs coming in the studio. You are tuned to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, 25 years strong, leaving no listener behind. #1 talk in the IE, that is KCAA. And if you're driving and listening to me right now, I had someone recognize my voice the other day, which is really funny. I am happy when people recognize me, because they'll see me interviewing Halle Berry or John Travolta on YouTube. But to have someone actually recognize me by my voice, besides Stevie Wonder, it was just one of those, oh yeah, I'm on the radio. I keep thinking I'm on camera. But if you are driving right now and listening to me laugh, please do not try to chat or give us the finger, the thumbs up, in the live stream, which is going on right now. YouTube channel, free subscribe, also on LinkedIn, Facebook. So please do land safely before you chat. But we love having you interact, and we love having you here with the topic of the day. Can I read what I wrote and then you take it away? Because I got a little bit fun with my words yesterday, and you know how much I love doing that. So the promo said, ready to tie one on? Just kidding. We're not getting drunk on my show, but we are tackling traumatic ties in relationships, friendships, churches, family, work, anywhere where there are humans. So if you're currently feeling all bound up in an uncomfortable way with someone where you wish you could just cut the strands of DNA that keep you twisted, then tune in, watch, and listen. Take it away.
Okay, so we are tackling toxic ties. And Dr. Marissa always wants to know, why did I pick this topic? It was interesting because for the past 2 weeks in Sunday school, and I'm going to tell myself, I don't usually go to Sunday school. Pat on my hand. But I have been going to Sunday school for the past couple of weeks because Mia was home and I want to set a good example. So I was trying to be better. Trying to be better. And we were talking about different things, and we were talking about church hurt. And it was interesting because they were saying, okay, well, you don't get club hurt and you don't get all these other things where you stop going to the club. No matter if somebody steps on your feet or spill a drink on you, you keep going. But people get church hurt and stop going to church, and they get offended from different things. And I was like, that's true. And you get offended in your family and you stop speaking to family members, or you get offended in relationships and you get offended in friendships and you get offended at church. So I was like, there's all these different things where people have toxic ties. And it would be a good discussion to have on the show. So I was like, okay, well, let me think about it. Let me pray about it. And let's see. And then I always see these different conversations that pop up on social media. So I got confirmation that it would also be a good discussion to have.
And it is, because just as you were speaking, all these images of people and of conversations and things. So great topic. I'll tell on myself, since you did, is I have a very long memory, and I have I'm not going to shit on myself, but I'm not perfect, right? I'm 88% fabulous and 12% at the time I'm not. And this is definitely one of the 12%. But if you start with me, whether like first impression and you say something, insulting, or I've known you for a while and you do something hurtful, or you say something or you do something, it can be like 15 years ago. And I will sound effects coming through. Thank you. My UPS man, my universal power source that I call God, just delivered a funny. So just coming through the memory I have of that event. I remember that, and that's you, right? It could be, nobody's perfect. I'm gonna hold that thing that you did against me in here so that I give you a very wide berth. And I'm not proud of it, but it is, one of those things that I used to teach, which is you cannot unring a bell. So even if you apologize for something, it doesn't wipe away the memory of what was said, right? So now, obviously, these are people that I don't have to see a lot, right? But I counter that with, I go where the love is. If I have a negative experience with you, and then 10 years later, we bump into each other and we have the same negative experience, I'm giving you a very wide berth for the rest of your life. So is that helpful and useful? Probably not. So I'll tell myself on that.
Yeah. And it's kind of hard if someone lies to you and you say, okay, and you catch them in a lie. And do you expose that lie, or do you just say, okay, I'm going to forgive that lie because it was a little white lie? Or is there a gradient of lie, from little lies to big lies. Do you want to be lied to? Do you not want to be lied to? Is it okay? Lie to me. Do you want the truth? Do you not want the truth? These are toxic ties. And so it was like, what is a toxic relationship? I have to look it up. Let's be scientific, people. A toxic relationship is a relationship in which you don't feel valued, you don't feel heard, you don't. This can be an intimate relationship, this can be a familial relationship, this can be a general friendship. So this spans all kinds of spectrums. And you have to look at, are you feeling valued? And that's only an answer and a question that you have to ask yourself. I can't answer it for you, and Dr. Marissa can't answer it for you.
Yeah. I would answer for you if you feel not valued with pretty much 80% of the people in your life. Then it's not them, it's you, boo. So that in those cases, I would answer for you, because if you're not feeling valued in almost every relationship you have, it's probably, or offended by almost everybody you meet, then chances are you don't feel valued yourself, and you are either attracting people who don't value you, and I've done that. Many of us, 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma, we have a tendency to choose mates. Right? We attract people who treat us in the same negative way as we are comfortable and familiar with. It's not a great thing. It's just one of those things. And that's why it's so important to do the work to get value from yourself first before y'all go looking outside for the value. And I'll bring up my favorite saying, African-American saying, when there is no enemy within, there is no enemy outside that can hurt you. Let me say that again. I think I butchered a little bit. When there is no enemy within, no one outside of you can hurt you. I love that saying, because is the toxicity because someone did something to you, or is the toxicity because you perceived an insult where there was none, or it was unintentional, but because you have that same feeling, negative feeling about yourself, it found a target. That is the most important Happy 88 tool that I hope you get out of this particular episode. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to say that, because I think it's so important for our own happiness to own the part that's yours, right? Because 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So, all right, I'll get off the soapbox. Go ahead. Let's focus on the bullies or the violators.
Yes, absolutely. Because you want to make sure, you are mentally, emotionally, and physically together and safe. And so what are the characteristics of a toxic relationship? There's lack of support. If you don't feel supported, persistent unhappiness, communication breakdown, control and dominance. So if somebody is always trying to be over you, tell you where to go, tell you what to do, if there's issues of neglect and manipulation, because those are signs that you don't have authority in the relationship. If you're not a child, no one should be over you. No one should be controlling your money. You should be in authority over your being, over your finances. And I think that that's an important issue right there.
Absolutely. Oh, look at here. We have a very longtime supporter. He's actually been a guest on the show. Welcome, Karimu, Clifford, Leonard, Shaw. Your name keeps getting longer. Thank you for the great discussion. And I'm guessing that you gave us one of the fingers that we've gotten so far. Not that one, but this one. And thank you for participating today. I'm just putting the topic right now in the chat. But yeah, sorry. Um, that's great research, Dr. Tiffanie, knowing that this is, I just love the way that we're able to talk about things now that, before nobody wanted to really talk about, the elephant in the room, or my Canadian version, the moose on the table, that, what do you do when people lie to you? Right? Do you just, what is that? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you continue to allow people who do just tie you up, get your undies in and just constantly irritate you, constantly frustrate you, constantly, make you feel undervalued? Do you keep those people in your life, or do you? What is there suggestions on what you do with them? Unfriend them, hire a hitman.
Well, there's a rationale, because you mentioned it early, how sometimes you can be addicted to abuse to a certain extent. And then there's the psyche as to why people stay in toxic relationships. And I know you read the book by Dr. Cloud. And I did too, I think, was it Necessary Endings or something like that. And I think there's a quote or something where it said, I like hell, or HE double hockey sticks. I don't know if that's a word, where I stay there because I'm familiar with all the streets. Even though I'm uncomfortable, it's okay because I know all the streets that it's on. And when people are in these relationships, there's this fear of being alone. Some people stay because of financial dependency. And I know that some people, even successful women who are in abusive relationships, there's that isolation, and they're embarrassed. They don't want to tell people I'm being abused, because it's like, I can't believe I put myself in this situation. I'm a smart, educated woman. I don't want to let people know that I've found myself in this situation. So there's this situation where you look up, and I can't believe I'm married to this man, or I'm married to this woman, and I'm in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really want to disclose this to my friends. I don't really want to disclose this to my family, or they've been isolated from their friends and family. So they don't really see a way out, even if they have the means to get out. And if they don't have the means to get out, there's that financial dependency on that person. And so how do you equip them with the tools to get out? They need to come up with a plan of escape.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can't remember when this was, but I did have guests who really educated me on domestic abuse, and how it's not as simple as you're getting violated, you're getting hurt, get out. It's not that easy, right? There's gradations of how you get into that situation. And that I'm going to talk about the balance for a second. So that's the balance of staying too long in a toxic relationship. And then I think I was talking earlier and telling on myself, that's like getting out too quickly in a relationship where there's some difficulty, and just writing people off. So the helpfulness of trying to, how do you decide where the balance is, right? It's almost like the question, how hard is too hard in a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
When I was interviewed in San Diego at KUSI, that was the question. Do relationships have to be hard? Well, I'm not going there, but you know what I'm thinking of. Sorry. Mind in the gutter. But how difficult should relationships be before you say this is toxic, right? Where's that line where you say, I'm out? I'm asking you.
Where is the line? Well, you have
lying. How many lies, right? When
Yeah.
you said, or how how severe is the lie? Like if someone doesn't like what I'm wearing, right? And they say, I don't like what you're wearing. To me, it's better if they didn't say that, which is, unless I ask them, right? You're being brutally honest. Nobody asked you to be, nobody asked you for your opinion on this, right? So to me, that's like, I don't want unsolicited feedback. However, if I have lipstick on my teeth or I have a bad breath or BO, I want to know, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, where's that line?
Yeah. So I would say if someone is being hypercritical of you, like saying, you're eating a salad and they're like, oh my goodness, this is what I saw on social media. Say Karen is eating her salad and they're like, oh my goodness, you ate all your salad. You're being such a pig. That's a red flag. Just because you ate all your salad. You're hungry and it's a salad. That's just being hypercritical. That's a red flag. That's being judgmental. And I think that's completely unnecessary. Communication saying, hey, that's mean, that's hurtful, that's unnecessary. That's a red flag. Now, say for instance, Joe Blow is giving, say, $600 to some female. And then he turns around and is asking Karen to give him money because he wants to borrow money from Karen. And Karen is like, why do you need money? Oh, I just need money. And Karen is like, okay, I'll give you money. And then Joe Blow goes around and is giving, this other female more money. And then he's going back to Karen, asking Karen for more money. And, Karen finds out that he's giving this other female money. And then he lies to Karen about it.
Okay, well,
that's a
first
problem.
of all, why would you give money to a... Anyways.
Well, if he said he needed it, but if he needed it for a bill as a loan.
Okay.
And so it was a need. And so you're like, okay, I want to help you out because you're in need. But then Karen later finds out that he didn't need it
for another woman. It was a different kind of need.
Yeah. And so then that changes things.
Yeah, of course it would change things. Not only is there a lie, there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on there. So for me, that would be nothing to untangle. It would be, I gave you the benefit of the doubt that you needed the money for something, but I find out that you lied and you gave it to some other woman. That is none of my concern. So I wouldn't, that would be, thank you very much. Nice knowing you. Good luck. You're going to go, Dr. Marissa, it's not that simple. But this is what I'm saying. I have a very short fuse, right? When it comes to anything, like I don't need a red flag. If you just go a little bit magenta fuchsia, I'm out, right? And this is one of those questions is I defend myself by saying I am not going to put myself in a situation with anyone who I've already had a demonstrated track record of them doing things to poke at me without provocation. So I'm a huge person where if I've messed you up, you have every right to come back at me and do something. But I have done nothing wrong to you, and you come at me. In that case, I am like, I don't care if you've had a conversion of any kind. I can't forget that, right? Good or bad. I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but that's just me. I know that about me. So I kind of do a little communication at the beginning of every important relationship is I have a long memory, and I don't like that about myself all the time, but it is just who I am. So if, because I had someone say to me, you drop people so quickly, not in a mean way, but I just, I guess I was an original ghoster before they started. I didn't know what that's what I was doing, but it's so, for me, it's just like, I really practice that hashtag discipline is if I don't like what I'm looking at, don't look there. So if I don't like what's happening in the relationship, I get out of the relationship. Now, I did stay way too long in my marriage, of no regrets, but I tried to leave 6 times. So maybe I'm balancing myself out now by, cutting them off too quick. But oh well, that's me. And if you're wondering why I am confessing here on the show, you are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, 25 years in the IE, coming at you with our very special Wednesday series called Doctors in the House with
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
And yours truly. And we're talking about tackling toxic, I wrote it down. Tackling traumatic, toxic ties in relationships, friendships, church, family, work, anywhere where there are humans currently feeling all bound out by in an uncomfortable way with someone where DNA strands are being twisted, then this is the show for you. We have Karimo is the captain of the Cashew Gallery this morning, and we're great to have him. If you have any other comments, I know there's more people on the stream not identifying. I see your eyeballs, but certainly do feel free to contribute. I have an actual situation that I just read up on yesterday, and you tell me, People Magazine covered it. You tell me what you would do. You are a bridesmaid, and you're going costume shopping. No. You're going dress shopping. You can tell what I feel about weddings, happily divorced. You're going shopping, and there's another bridesmaid, and then your bride. And you're, helping choose dresses, looking for your dresses alone. You're in the change room. You happen to look over, and you see that the bride has left her phone there. And you glance, and you see a text exchange between the other bridesmaid and the bride with your name in it. So you touch it, and it turns out that it's a whole feed of their making fun of you and how you look and your choices. And, then they're criticizing or making fun of you from your posts. So it goes back a long way. So you confront the bride, who says, her reaction is, instead of, we're just making fun or whatever, she does it, we're just making fun, but how dare you go into my phone? How dare you? That's private, none of your business. So what would you do?
Am I the bride or the bridesmaid?
You are the one who found
okay.
the texts.
Am I related to the bride?
You are not related to the bride. You're all friends from college.
Okay. Well, I will say, and I'm paying for my own dress to be in this wedding.
Yes.
I will say, I really appreciate your feelings of, I said what I said, and I'm about to say what I'm going to say. Thank you for your honesty, and I will be at your wedding as just a guest. Because if you feel the way you feel about my choices and you don't like the way I look, I will be happy to just be a friend, a distant friend.
Okay. So once again, Dr. Tiffanie is way more nice than the other co-host on the show. And I forgot one little piece. She also said, of course it's it's just, we're having, we tease each other and whatever. This is just, you wouldn't be a bridesmaid if I didn't love you, right?
See,
That
my
was also part.
if she wanted to make fun, I make fun of my friends all the time, but we make fun of each other face to face.
Right.
And it's okay to make fun of each other. But if you're going to make fun of somebody, do it to their face.
Right.
I mean, it's okay to clown someone.
Yeah.
But if you're going to clown somebody, it's like, oh, your head is big. Oh, your eyes are crossed. I mean, if you're going to joke, and it truly is a joke,
yeah,
go to their face. But if you're just bad mouthing somebody, then you're just bad mouthing somebody.
Correct.
Take ownership of it. And I said that I would go because your emotions always get the best of you. And when the smoke clears 5 years down the line, you're going to regret it. And they'll probably still want to be friends. And they will miss being present. And so, like I started the show when I said I'm able to call my college roommate and we were still able to talk. And I would still want to build that bridge and keep that bridge open and that line of communication open. So I wouldn't want to miss the wedding. I may not want to be as close, but I still would want to keep that keep that line of communication open.
Yeah. See, and again, that is where we differ. For me, it would be, that's like a giant violation. Giant. No love there. Go where the love is. Love's not there. I'm out.
Burn that bridge.
What bridge?
Light it up.
What bridge? Like, who are you? Because now, granted, I know people who would say, oh, look at the history of it and how long you've been friends. I am a huge believer of relationships for a season, right? Your relationships are like the tides. They go in, they go up. Friendships are like tides, right? Even intimate relationships, there are chapters in your book of romance. Friendships are chapters in your book of life. And to go in there and have a carefrontation, which is good if you really value the relationship. So for me, I don't value that relationship. I've got plenty of friends. I don't need friends who are bad-mouthing me with each other behind my back. That to me is like, no, I don't want to go to your wedding. I don't want to have a relationship with you. Bye-bye, right? So again, maybe too much to the one extreme, but that's kind of who I am, because my time is my most valuable resource, my non-renewable energy, number one. Number two, I love feeling good. So I want to be around people and situations that make me feel good, because when I feel good, good things happen. When I don't feel good, I begin attracting things that don't feel good. That's the law of attraction, impersonal, just like the law of gravity is just the way it is. So for me, the benefit of not going in there and trying to work things out is because I don't want to stay in that space. I don't want to stay on that low-flying disc, as Abraham will say, or, the law of attraction, Abraham's law of attraction, not the secret's law of attraction that focuses more on material things. For me, it is so important to stay as positive as possible, not to do a bypass. I'll be pissed. You bet you believe it. And you know what I'll do? I will write a letter to her with all of this stuff to get it out of my system. And then I will hit S, not send, but save draft. And I'll just allow myself, because I use that draft as an honoring of how I'm feeling and next time my head starts going and focusing on that and wanting to do something or say something, I go back to that draft and say, is there anything I need to add? No, I covered it all. I still hit save draft. I don't hit send. And then I can release that again. And for me, that's what works. So my answer to how do you untangle yourself from toxic relationships, you take a walk on a different path.
Yeah, that'll do it. That will definitely do it. Because it's good to get it out. I call it verbal vomit. You sometimes you just have to go, "Bleh," and you just have to do the release. Because if you don't, it's like shaking up a soda pop bottle, and then you'll spew. And it doesn't matter who you spew on. It may not be that person, but it'll be the next person you come in contact with, and you'll pop. And all that venom is going to spew onto someone. So it's great if you can put it on a piece of paper and get it out. Because if you don't, you're just like a walking a time bomb, a ticking time bomb waiting to go off on anyone. So that verbal vomit has to come out.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm going to now coach myself. Because is it possible that people change and maybe 10 years later, that person who did what they did is a different person? And at the time, they did the best that they could with what they had and the resources had and the brains and or ignorance that they had. And they have changed. And now they're coming back at you and saying, positive things and, want that relationship again. And they apologize for it and say, I'm owning my actions. I'm really sorry. And can we be friends again?
I think it is possible that people can change if they do the work on themselves. Time does heal all wounds. And that is why I would have gone to the wedding, because you never know what can happen over time. And if you don't show up, that person now has a scab on their life and on their heart. And they'll look at you. Well, that's the person who never came to my wedding. She was so offended. She was so broken. And she was so, she was so hurt. And I always look at life. I think there's this meme that has a plate and it says, here's the relationship. You drop the plate and it's broken, and you can put the plate back together again and you can super glue it and it has all these cracks. And then you pick up the plate and it says it's put back together again, but no matter what, the plate has all these cracks. So no matter what, it's still a plate, but it has all the cracks in it. So the plate will never be the same. And then that's your relationship. So if you don't crack the plate completely, it won't truly be dysfunctional and disfigured. And that's why I would go to the wedding, to keep it somewhat functional and the same. Just let it have a little chip as opposed to completely cracked apart.
Yeah. And I would say, I would just leave the plate on the ground, because there's plenty of unbroken plates to my left and to my right. Okay. It's the same. It's like dating, right?
Yeah.
I have friends who'll say to me, and I'm now on date 11. Okay. And no second dates on any of them. And, I am talking to one now who seems like really great, but because he's not been feeling well, we haven't met in person yet, but the chemistry is good on the phone. The chemistry is good, texting, and we get each other and all of that. And my girlfriend plus him has said, sorry, this isn't working out. He canceled last night and because of some other stuff. And at the very least we can be friends, right? Or my friend says, at the very least we can be friends. And I'm like, the Seinfeld episode, I'm sorry, here's a quarter. I have plenty of friends and I'm not out looking for a new friend. Here's a quarter. If you really need me, call me. This is the days of the other phone. So there's that. But understanding that maybe this is my work to soften a little on all of this, maybe The name of the show is Take My Advice. I'm not using it because I would coach someone to do that, because it's not good to hold hate in your body, mind, soul. I'm not, and the opposite of hate is not love, right? I'm not asking that woman to love the woman getting married, right? But to be indifferent, that's the opposite of hate. When you can mention that person's name or think about that situation and not get all triggered, that's growth, right? So when I'm not faced with, though, that person over and over again, that's where I am. I'm not subjected to, again, that feeling. That's what forgiveness is. For me, forgiveness is I'm doing it for me, not for you, right? I don't want to feel that level of hatred or, pissed offedness or woundedness every time I think of you, right? So that's when I say everybody does the best that they can. If they could do better, they would, but they can't. And I'm not going to let what they say or do, poop up my table. That's the polishing table form that I use in balanced Tai Chi Gong, so that I'm not, I try to, the art of neglect, not to bring them up, not to think about it, not to ruminate or ruinade instead of marinade on all of that.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I think that when we are evolving to mature and to look within ourselves to effectively grow and leave these relationships and to really evaluate the situations, we can see ourselves in better situations. And the impact of staying in these toxic relationships, it makes us feel depressed. It makes us feel belittled, and it's just not healthy. Often people have anxiety, and it's just not a good environment to be in. And I know that I had insomnia when I was in my toxic marriage, and it was not good. I had physical symptoms. I had worsening migraines, and I know I stayed too long, just like you, Dr. Marissa. And it took me time. And I know we said we were going to briefly touch on churches, and I know church hurt is something that people often experience because someone in the church said something, and so they decide not necessarily to switch churches. They just decide, I'm not going back to any church at all. And it made it easy, especially with COVID. Some people go to church online, some people don't go to church online. And I think it's an individual choice. Church is in the heart, but again, you don't get club hurt and people still go to the club no matter what happens to them. So just reevaluate your experiences and your priorities and think, what would Jesus do?
Well, he did get pissed a couple of times.
Yes, he did. He did over a couple of tables. Yes.
Yeah. And as
he went back, he kept going back though.
Yeah. I've never heard that term, church hurt. That's pretty funny. And there are clubs actually that do club hurt. So I think it's, what is the best for you in reacting to people who just push your buttons, or it's just not fun to be around them. Like, it's that balance thing, right? Try not to do what I do, which is, unfriend and ghost way too quick. Give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not perfect, just like you're not perfect. And you caught them in the 12% moment and you were in a 12% moment, and that's what it is. However, if it's more than one time, then you got to look at that. And then you look, and why do I allow myself to be not just a doormat, but a wall-to-wall carpet? So there's my question. Are you being wall-to-wall carpet in your toxic relationships, or are you wiping your feet in a self-loving way to walk a different path. So that's my final word. We're already, again, this is one of those shows that just goes so fast. What is your final word?
My final word is that you should always value yourself. Don't let anyone make you feel bad for being you, because you are special. And try not to be offended by everyone, because if you are offended by everyone, then you really need to look at yourself and wonder why. Now, if you're only offended by one person, then it might be just that person. Just remember, you are valuable, you are special.
Absolutely. And I'm bringing up Dr. Oh, I love it. I don't think I've seen this new upgrade here. I like it. Dr. Tiffanie, physician, author, playwright, radio personality, speaker. Go visit her. And she has a myriad of ways in which she can help you. So are you seeing this? Let's see. Yeah, perfect. This is her website. Very easy. All you have to remember is it's NIE instead of Y, and you'll be directed to Dr. Tiffanie and all that she has to offer. My final word on this topic, find the balance, between shooting too quickly and shooting too slowly. Uh-oh. Her internet, I think, in San Francisco is not as strong because she is remote today, but she got her final word in, which is great. Maybe she'll get to come back. There she is. I think your internet in San Francisco is not as strong as when you're at home.
No, it just kicked me out.
It did just kick you out. It was, but I'd like to celebrate my final word. For the first time, and I'm not going to tell you how many years, I was talking to someone about my husband because my daughters just spent a little time with him, an extended period of time with him. And it was the first time. So for those of you who are divorced and still pissed off about your husband, if you do the work and you can get to that place of indifference, it was the very first time where I actually could talk about him and his situation now, which is not great, and his relationship with my daughters, which is getting better, which is, usually that would kind of piss me off. But I could talk about it without all of that. So I'm going to give myself some kudos. I mean, I just recognize that the opposite of hate is not love, it is indifference. So I have been able to cross that bridge just 2 days ago, where I haven't before. So that's pretty amazing. I can give myself a little kudos here.
That's a beautiful toxic tie that was broken.
Yeah, it was really, when people take millions of dollars from you, it's a tough one. But, Janine Roth, who was on my show, Bernie Madoff took $10 million of her money. She's the best-selling author of Woman, Food, and God. So if she can do it, I can do it. And I've done it. Hopefully it'll, has some roots there. But honestly, it was the first time. And how long has it been? Let's see. We bifurcated in 2007. So how many years? 24 minus 7. What's that? 17 years, 16 years. Yeah. So it's possible. But I know people who go to their grave hating their husbands. So we're ahead of that. Okay,
Yeah,
right.
I don't hate them. So
yeah. No, I'm not pointing any fingers at all. Thank you so much. We're in our last final minute. Thank you for tuning in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show, and our very special Wednesday series, Doctors in the House with Dr. Marissa and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
Reminding you that it's all about balance. Peace in, Peace out. World peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day
ever.
Tomorrow, Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and James Hawthorne.